Welcome everyone to another episode of Billionaires Beginnings, the series where we're grinding towards $1 billion in GT5 Online. And in this video, I set out to make $10 million so that I can purchase some very important things later on in the video. But one thing I did not expect was that this was going to be the easiest $10 million I've ever made in my years of playing the game. And the reason for this is Rockstar has had two of the best event weeks they've had in a very long time back to back. So with that being said, I started off the money grind earlier this week when the Dr. Dre contract was paying out 2 times the money. So we were making $2 million for about an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes of work. In addition to that, the payphone hits were also paying out 1.5 times money, so for about 5 minutes of work, you could also make $127,000. So first I started off with a payphone hit, I then went and collected the money from our wall safe in the nightclub, and finally did a security contract, and we did all that so that we could purchase something very important. The first purchase of the episode, which was a railgun. I found the gun van, picked up the railgun, and the reason why we did this was because this weapon is essentially a one-shot when in close range. It will destroy entire cars, helicopters, all that kind of stuff. So we knew that we really needed it for our money grind, for all the missions we were going to do, but there was one in particular because a lot of people had said in the comment section of my previous videos that for the High Society finale mission for the Dr. Dre contract, it only takes 3 railgun shots to knock down the helicopter. And so I decided to start doing that, and that's why we got it ahead of time. And of course, it worked. So if you're a new player and you haven't tried this out already, I highly suggest doing so. It made this process so much simpler, and the railgun is only like what, $650,000, something like that. So like for the money, it's totally worth it. And it's also something that could be used in the finale, which is what I did as well. Whenever you're in the first portion of the first half of the finale and you're fending off enemies, you can take out all the cars, and quite a few of them just with the railgun itself. So great weapon, great addition for our money grind, because that was something that we ended up using quite a bit. In this period of the first half of our money grind, we ended up doing 2 Dr. Dre contracts for $4 million and a handful of payphone hits split throughout it. So after each leak, I would go complete a payphone hit and then go on to the next leak. And so I would get 3 to 4 payphone hits done per Dr. Dre contract, bringing up our earnings to like 5 million just for that 4 hours of work. Now, after doing all that stuff, the event week had finally changed. It was Thursday, and there was new money bonuses, and for the first time, I believe the first time ever, auto shop contracts are 3 times money, and they still are at the time of releasing this video. So if you are not doing these, I highly suggest getting on them. If you don't have an auto shop, the cheapest one usually goes for 1.7 million, and the discounts right now I think are like 35% or something. So it is a very cheap business. And one of these auto shop contracts, more specifically the Union Depository contract, is paying out about $830,000 with setups and finale all in. And that only takes, and this is the catch, the Union Depository contract only takes about 30 minutes max. If you're like a consistent grinder, you could get this done in 20 minutes. My best runs are 20 minutes. I average about 25, but if you're new, 30, maybe 40 max is how long it takes, and you're gonna be making $830,000. Now, the beautiful thing about the auto shop as well and these auto shop contracts is that there are 8 in total, and I should mention they are essentially mini heists. You have 2 setup missions, 1 finale, very quick. None of them take more than, like I said, like 30 minutes. If you're really new, maybe 40 minutes. But they pay out a ton of money this week because, like I said, they are all triple money. So the Union Depository contract is paying out, it's $900,000, but there's a cut, so it ends up being about $830,000. And then the other ones are in the $450,000 to $500,000 range as a payout. Now, there's going to be about a 30-minute cooldown for these contracts. Keep that in mind. But the beauty of the auto shop contracts is, unlike other businesses, you can actually play them back to back to back, just so long as they are not the same contract. There are 8 different in total, and there's a couple that I personally favor. Of course, whenever you have the chance to do the Union Depository, I highly suggest doing it if you are skilled enough to do so, because there is quite a bit of combat. But if you put these 2 together, right, 30 minutes each, you were making $1.2 million an hour. And unlike the Cayo Perico heist, you don't have to wait 2.5 hours to make another 1.2. You could go right back into it and make another 1.2 over and over and over again. And I'm saying that probably on the high end of the time scale. If you could get 3 of these done in an hour, you're looking at like closer to $2 million. And you could repeat that every single hour. I'm mind blown. It's truly incredible that they've made this triple money for us this week, so take advantage of it while you can. Now for this episode, I did a total of 2 Union Depository contracts, which took about an hour, and that made us 1.7 roughly million dollars, which if you don't have the business, those 2 alone make back your money in an hour, which is crazy. Some things to keep in mind for the Union Depository contract. I actually dropped a guide yesterday on things that you could keep in mind for it to make it easier, but some things that I saw in the comments that a lot of people were talking about and things I'm gonna try in our next episode is when you are exiting the Union Depository, you can actually go and pick up a police car if the door is open, which is something I'm gonna start doing. For myself, what I did was I ran to the other garage, picked up our getaway vehicle and then took off. But what you could actually do is just grab a police car, drive over to the police station in downtown or uptown Los Santos, and then take the police helicopter like you would with the Diamond Casino heist. So that's something I'm going to try in the next video, but regardless, that maybe saves, I don't know, a couple minutes of your time. The way I did it worked perfectly fine. I would get in, take out all the cops, run over to the getaway car, and then drive away to our destination where we would get the check for 800 grand. So combined, like I said, they made us about $1.7 million, took about an hour, but during the cooldown time, I did a different contract, and it was the bank contract. This is my second favorite personally. You're essentially just robbing 6 Fleeca banks. It could not get easier. Now, you may think this could be hectic, right? Because you have to drive all over the map, but the 2 setup missions take me, no joke, 10 minutes. I think when I timed it, it was about 10 minutes. So simple. The finale took me like, I don't know, 8, 9, like it was literally like a sub 20-minute contract. And the way I know that is when I came back to my auto shop, I couldn't even restart the Union Depository contract because we done it so fast. So some things to keep in mind for the Fleeca Bank contract is there's going to be cops chasing you for the majority of the mission for the finale. You will get a 2-minute head start essentially because of one of the setup missions, but once the cops are on you, all you have to do is sit in the doorway as you're leaving. Make sure you park, first off, make sure you park your car outside of the Fleeca Bank, right outside of the entrance. Then when you're leaving, just take out the cops that are there. They're not going to enter the bank, so you don't have to worry about that. They're really not that good, not too aggressive, and they're all like just sitting out in the open, like just take them out. Simple as that. Hop in the car, move on to the next one, rinse and repeat for 6 different banks, and you're done. And that one earns $500,000, and like I said, I had a sub 20-minute run, which, like, to make that much money in this game is incredible. So doing that grind was a ton of fun, and we'll continue doing that in future episodes, but we had 2 more things to complete before getting into what we need to purchase. The first thing was I actually mixed in a agency contract. The agency deal is one of the auto shop contracts. This one's really simple as well. I have a lot of fun with it. Some people shy away from it because the finale has quite a bit of combat, but I find it's pretty simple, pretty straightforward. So that one, once again, took me, I think, 25 minutes, made us $500,000, which is great. That was the final, or the second last contract that we did before the Union Depository was ready to go again. And the final thing that we did was, of course, our tried and true Cayo Perico heist. Now, what's special about this Cayo Perico heist was I ended up activating hard mode from one of the previous videos that we ended up doing. So I had hard mode activated. But what was extra special was that we got a pink diamond. So we got a pink diamond plus hard mode, which means that our primary target alone was over $1.4 million. So we completed it our regular way. We got so lucky with this, completed it our regular way, and ended up making about $1.7 million, almost to $1.8 million for about an hour's worth of work. And that is what took us over the $10 million threshold. Now, of course, we still have money to collect from our nightclub and do a nightclub sale at some point. We're gonna worry about that in the next episode, but this was how we made our $10 million in this episode. And now that we've made all that money, it is time to spend it on some very important things. Now, you may have realized that in this money grind, I did not mention at any point MC businesses or the street dealers or anything like that. And that is because we had to pick up some things first. And what we did was we went around to the 3 MC businesses that could be sold to street dealers, which is the Coca-Cola, the Blue Stuff, and the Green or Grass Farm. And I bought the equipment and the staff upgrades for all of them, which was about 1.5, almost like 1.3, 1.5 million dollars each. Pretty hefty purchases. Now, what you may know this, you may not know this. If you have those MC businesses and don't have those upgrades, the only way to be profitable is to steal supplies. But once you get the upgrades, then you could purchase supplies and go on from there. So it's something that I want to make sure we had, so that whenever we mixed in street dealers in the future, all we have to do is purchase supplies, don't steal supplies, or even have to go to one of these stash houses and hope that one of them gets resupplied. So that was a big purchase. That knocked off like what? $3.54 million right there. But the next one was a little bit different. This is actually the first of the series. We purchased our first ever car, like true car. And of course, it had to be the Jester RR, because I personally think this car is gorgeous. Now I put some white rims on it, the old street rims. I also put a blue underglow and then an ultra blue paint job on it. And the reason why I picked up this car is because we could now use it for our auto shop contracts, which is very exciting. Now, one thing I didn't do at the time was to put on the window louvers on the back, which you can actually do and make the car bulletproof. So we will do that in the next episode, but this is great because now we have a souped up car that may help us a little bit while we're doing our auto shop contracts this week. Plus, it just looks cool. This is actually like one of my favorite cars in the game. As soon as I saw it, I loved it. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Anyways, that's all for the video. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.